Jesus Christ the Lord tells me, don't be afraid. I have redeemed you. I have called you by your name. You are mine. Wherever you go, I will be with you. Whatever may happen, I will not leave you. This is Stefan Hager, is my name, talking to you in a second-hand shop in Switzerland. And I'm reading with you today the busyness of Christmas season. I'm reading together with you Matthew's Gospel 26, where Jesus talks to his disciples in an intimate way about going to the cross. He himself tells them, don't be afraid. I have to go this way to the cross. He's prophesying his own death just days before. Matthew 26. We read from verse 1 to verse 13 or today. So looking ahead of the death of Jesus. Jesus finished saying all these things. Then he said to his disciples, as you know, the Passover feast is 2 days away. The Son of Man will be handed over to be nailed to a cross. Jesus talks about himself 72 times in the Injiil, the New Testament, as the Son of Man. The Son of Man is a term used for Jesus from a heavenly perspective, just like the Son of God is an earthly perspective. When we look at Jesus on the earth, God incarnate, God becoming man, the Son of God walking around as a human being, this is the earthly view of his divinity. Whereas the Son of Man really is a heavenly perspective. It is Jesus viewed in heaven because he has to go to earth. That's why they called him the Son of Man, as prophesied in Daniel 500 years earlier on. Prophet Daniel talked about Jesus as the Son of Man. Verse 3. Let's read on. The chief priests met with the elders of the people. They met in the palace of Caiaphas, the high priest. They made plans to arrest Jesus in a clever way. They wanted to kill him, but not during the feast. They said, the people may stir up trouble. The big problem was that the Romans told the Jews, we don't want trouble these Passover feasts. You better behave yourself, or we will take over, close the temple, and the Jewish religion, we shut it down. This was the Roman threat. But Jesus now comes into Jerusalem and the temple. He was in Bethany, which is next to Jerusalem, the village next. He was in the home of a man named Simon, who had a skin disease. A woman came to Jesus with a special sealed jar of very expensive perfume. She poured the perfume on his head while he was at the table. So Jesus was sitting here at the table, and she poured out a bottle, like you find it here in this shop, of perfume, and she poured it on his feet. So when the disciples were there and they saw it, they became very angry. Why this waste? They said. Because they often had money problems traveling around with Jesus. How will we eat? Where will we stay? Let's use money properly, just like in this shop. Here, old clothes and items are utilized to be resold. People give them for free to the charity, and the charity sells it again, so they make some extra money to help the poor. This is the Salvation Army, and they operate in such a way to help the poor. So it is commonly understood that the disciples would be concerned about this. The perfume could have been sold at a high price. Look at this. I'm going here, and this 2 Swiss franc, where usually I would not even get a coffee with this money. But here at this charity shop, glad to say coffee costs me only one Swiss franc. With this, I can drink 2 such cups of coffee. Verse 10. Jesus was aware of this. He said to them, "Why are you bothering this woman? She has done a beautiful thing to me. You will always have poor people with you, but you will not always have me." So Jesus again compared himself as the Son of Man, becoming fully man, God, becoming poor for us, that he would be compared to the poor people in this world. So whatever you do, we read the other day, if you do it for the least of brothers and sisters of Jesus, as a human being, handicapped, poor, remote, illiterate, and people who have no social status at all, you do it for Jesus. So he says, the poor you will always have around you, but you won't have me, Jesus says. Verse 10, you will always have poor people with you, but you won't always have me. Verse 11, verse 12, she poured the perfume on my body to prepare me to be buried, because Jesus prophesied his death, so he talks even about his burial. Verse 13, what I'm about to tell you is true. What she has done will be told anywhere this good news is preached all over the world. It will be told in memory of her. So Jesus says this woman will be remembered as a good woman who has invested her money well by pouring the perfume out on Jesus' feet. She will be remembered because she has done a good thing wherever we preach the gospel. So when I preach to you and share the good news, the Injiil, the gospel, I want to remember this woman. What goes on? One of the 12 disciples, he went to the chief priests. His name was Judas Iscariot. Judas Iscariot was a political agent, really. He wanted to overthrow the Roman government like some other disciples wanted, and he wanted Jesus to become politically active. But Jesus cared more about the poor than about politics. So he asked, what will you give me if I hand Jesus over to you? So he wanted to hand Jesus over to the Jews because they were after him. They were trying to get him. Look, now let's see what it says here. Matthew chapter 26, verse 15. We read on the other page. He counted out 30 silver coins for them. Look at this now. The same people who said it's too much money to pour on Jesus' feet. He poured out 30 silver coins for him, they said, and from then on Judas watched for the right time to hand Jesus over to them. And tomorrow we'll read on what happened at the Last Supper.